once you get moved over there, we're going to start the meeting, so no rush. But don't sit down either. Good evening, everybody. We want to call this meeting to order. At this time, we'll stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, with liberty and justice for all. Glad you could all make it out here tonight. We're going to start out with student report. And your microphone is on the way, so once he comes over, you can have that.
Hello, I am a senior here at Williams Bay High School representing the student body, and I kind of wanted to briefly go over, is it working now? Briefly go over activities and important events the student body has highly participated in. So starting off with the musical, The Wedding Singer, which Miss Miles, the choir teacher, and Mr. Weirk had worked very hard on, taking place December 3rd and 4th here, and it was amazing. First musical since COVID, so that was exciting. And then we had the band concert December 9th, which was also live streamed, and then we have the choir concert happening tomorrow, which will also be live streamed. Then, since it's basketball season, we have girls basketball and boys basketball for high school, middle school, and the youth. We have a varsity team, JV team, and a JV2 team for boys basketball, and then we have a varsity and a JV for girls basketball. The middle school basketball boys have orange, black, white, and gray, so 4 different teams with a total of 45 different players, so we got a lot of people coming up for basketball. Then we have something super exciting going on with the community. Mr. Tomaszewski's sociology class has been working extremely hard as well on these projects. So we have a couple different groups. One's working with Lakeland Animal Shelter. One's working with Inspiration Ministries. I know another group is working with the homeless shelters, donating toiletry bags. We had a bake sale last Friday, which we raised a lot of money to buy food for the food drive and some toiletries for the homeless shelters. And then closing off, we have the senior trip, Washington, D.C., the first one in 3 years since COVID. So this is really exciting. We have about 20 out of 52 kids going. And it's just going to be really exciting to finally get back on track, get back on our feet since COVID. So we're making changes, which is exciting. And any other questions or anything? Questions over here? Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Open up the for public comments. Remember, we have a 30-minute time limit. That includes public comments at the beginning and the end for a total of 30 minutes, not 30 minutes each. Each person has 5 minutes to speak if they want. Make sure that you direct your comments to the board, and it should relate to something on the agenda or close to it. So at this time, I'll open up public comments. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, we'll move on. Reports, athletic boosters. Do we have anything to report from athletic boosters? If not, we can move on to athletic director. Hank?
I do have one thing to add. This came after I sent you guys the report, so everything I have there plus this. This is from an athletic director, middle school athletic director, Neil Daniels from Riverview. I witnessed some very impressive sportsmanship by our A-teamers last night, in particular number 50. On a couple of occasions, he helped some of the Riverview players get up from the floor by offering his hand. Then late in the game, I subbed in a player who has never played organized basketball before. That player was confused on where to stand on defense during baseline out-of-bounds plays. I was trying to help him where to stand, and he obviously didn't understand. One of the Williams Bay players took my player by the shoulders and led him to where he needed to be on defense. I don't remember which Williams Bay player it was, but very impressive. Please let your coaches, your players, and anyone else know about this great act of sportsmanship. So we have some great things going on here. I've been very impressed with our participation. You could see the numbers in the winter sports right now are up, especially in middle school. I say we have 45 basketball players out for boys right now, and we have 16 cheerleaders/dance girls out. So we're starting to see numbers come up, and a very good look for the future here.
Thank you.
The two items I have is I'm going to be recommending or bringing a recommendation to the board to hire Jennifer Frederick as our business manager beginning July 1st for the 22-23 school year. Jennifer has done a real impressive job taking over from Ben. We're currently sharing Jennifer on the 6603 with Woods. Been really impressed with Jennifer's communication, really receptive to teachers' questions and other staff members, explains things very thoroughly, and they just feel like they can really approach her with concerns and questions. She's been very detail-oriented and catching some errors that we had, working really closely with Baird, other business managers. She's just done a real nice job bringing new things to our business office and just bringing a lot of attention to detail and receptiveness to people. So we will have a contract to talk on our January meeting. We will do a closed session to talk about her contract and what we want to do there, and certainly gives you guys a chance to ask questions about that. The second item is our January 19th to 21st. Items on the agenda is to decide who's going to be the representative at the delegate assembly. So we'll have to figure that out tonight too. But if any of you want to go to the convention, please let Desiree know and she'll get you signed up.
Meeting.
That would be Ed. I just don't know if he can attend. He hasn't responded that he is going, and a lot of times with Ed's business, like tonight, he's unable to do things. So I don't know if he's planning on going or not.
I plan on going.
I'm going to be out of town.
So probably what we'll do when we get to that action item is have you be the delegate assembly member. That way for sure.
Notes as presented. The only other things that I'm adding are a big shout out to our 8th grade literacy teacher, Ms. Creed, who was just on Jeopardy at 6 o'clock here this evening, which was pretty awesome to watch. So I know our students are going to be excited about that. And we'll highlight that again tomorrow, and we asked them to tune in tonight. So pretty big deal for Williams Bay. I had a few friends that texted me about it just out of the blue when they were watching it tonight. And then the second thing is I really want to recognize our staff and teachers everywhere. It has been a really challenging last couple of months. It continues to be challenging, whether it be just dealing with kids who are in quarantine or issues with COVID themselves, their families, and then also having to cover other classrooms. It's really adding a lot of additional work, and so we're really looking forward to our break. Dr. Bond and I are both looking through the candidates for long-term positions for second semester to have another set of body or just eyes in classrooms to help with trying to ease that burden that we've had to take on here on the last couple of months. But the staff has done an outstanding job, and we've got 2 more days to go. So any questions you have of me on any of the notes?
Any questions for Mr. Mansky? Thank you very much. Then we'll move on to
notes as presented also, with in addition to concur what Mr. Mansky said, our teachers have been extremely flexible with very oftentimes there aren't subs available to cover our teachers, and teachers have been on a rotation to make sure those classes are covered. So it's been outstanding, just the dedication that I've seen in the teamwork from the elementary staff as well. Any questions?
move on to
Notes as presented. The only thing I want to highlight from my notes is the holiday help item. We have just such a wonderfully supportive and giving community that we're able to provide gifts, food, gift cards to 14 families, 36 children that are directly related to the district. They spent a lot of their time today wrapping, preparing, and all of the families will get all of their items tomorrow before the holidays. Any questions on anything else for me?
Are there any reports from board members? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to action items. Consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to personnel transactions.
We have 3 personnel transactions. 2 are resignations. One is Bill Navarosky. He's been serving as the varsity girls volleyball coach. And Christy Granado has been working as an elementary lunchroom supervisor. They are both stepping away from their positions. And then as Mr. Mansky and Dr. Bond mentioned, our teachers are really working hard, covering a lot of classes. We have a lot of absences due to COVID and quarantines and just people being ill. We are recommending Kate Coitz as a temporary building substitute teacher. So it's a building sub. So she'll be just here every day, floating from classroom to wherever the need is. We do look forward to bringing a second one recommendation to you. We'd like to have 2 like we did last spring. That really helps to cover all the classrooms on a day-to-day basis. Kate is a former student.
Aye.
Move on to the 2022-2023 calendar.
November meeting, we're recommending the 22-23 calendar with 172 student days, 10 professional development days. The first day of school would be September 1st, and the last day with students would be June 1st with a work day for staff on June 2nd.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I do want to bring up that I have heard back from some teachers and from parents that they would prefer to have a longer Christmas break than we had this year. Most of it a full 2 weeks. I think this is 1 day longer than this year. But this year, we get off on Wednesday, we go through the end of the following week, and we're back on Monday. So, just want to put that out there. And I do agree that traditionally we've had a longer break. Also, I hear from other board members how they feel on that sentiment.
If I could jump in, I mean, certainly I've got a lot of feedback on the calendar from administrators, from teachers. Certainly there are those who have expressed an interest in a longer December break. If we added those 4 days as vacation days or basically made it full 2 weeks, we're going to add more days in June. So that would put us out around the 7th or 8th of June. So one of our goals has always been to try to finish up before that first full week of June. So certainly we could add it, that's the board's prerogative, but again, it adds days elsewhere. We built 172 days in our calendar, that's 3 potential snow days. So that's where that's coming from.
Didn't we go into that first full week of June as of, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago? Or is this something, or that I seem to remember going into, the higher days as opposed to first or second.
Ella might know. She's been here and work on the count in this seat. What is your recollection about how far in June we typically have gone? I know in the past we would have gone longer because we had 180 days. Right. And when there was 180 days in the calendar, that would have also pushed us longer because now it's based on minutes, so we do 172 instead of 180. Now I know I looked at the other districts' calendars. We're not off. I know ours is exactly the same as Lake Geneva, and I know that Delavan Darien's is a little longer. They go December 22nd is their first day of break, so they go one day earlier, and I believe Elkhorn goes, let's see, December 21st is their first day of break, so they go a little earlier. But again, Elkhorn doesn't finish school till June 8th, and I know Delavan does not finish until June 8th as well. Yeah. The teacher day actually is a new thing that started, I think, 2 years ago. We hadn't always had a teacher work day. But I've tried to make sure that we have 10 PD days. That's why they're so heavy on the front end in August. And I have given the principals the ability to be flexible with those days. So definitely all staff will be here on the 23rd of August. But how they work with their staff and arrange them to come in those other 5 days is really flexible to the principals and the teachers they need to work with. Trying to build our PD around the needs of our professional development and not around a calendar to some extent. Correct. Now, what I've told Allie, Dr. Bond, and Mr. Mansky is the 23rd, I expect everybody to be in the district. If they choose to, say, for example, Allie wants to bring in her second grade team the week before the 22nd. She could do that, and then so maybe they work 2 days, so they might not come the 25th and the 31st. It's given them the flexibility to work with groups or individuals as they need to. But again, all teachers would put in 5 days of work before the school year started. There's one work day at the end of the year. That's the second, so that's where they clean up all their report cards, clean up their classrooms, and pretty much be done. Elementary, that has at a different calendar a little bit. We try to keep them pretty similar, but the way the exam schedule works, instead of having the elementary kids go home early, 2 days, they stay all day one of the days, and then they have that day off. So it's a professional development day for the elementary. So elementary does have 2 PD days at the end of the year. High school has 1.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, I did. Approve revisions to the seminar policies.
We had the first reading at last month's meeting. There's the list of policies there. If you have specific questions on any of the policies, I can certainly go deeper into them, but we went through those last month. Again, most of it's cleaning up and just adding clarity to most of the policies.
We do them one at a time, correct?
Correct, and usually one person does the first and one does the second, which makes it cleaner.
Okay. I move to approve policy number 722.1, accident reports as presented. Second. Aye. Opposed? Okay, I move to approve policy number 723.1, safety drills as presented. Second. Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy number 723.3, emergency school closing as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy number 730, building and grounds management maintenance as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy 731, buildings and grounds security as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy number 731.2, locker room privacy as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy number 731.3, key control as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy number 731.4, electronic surveillance of public areas of school buildings as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy number 751, student transportation services as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I move to approve policy number 780, insurance management as presented. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. We have to approve delegate vote for the assembly.
This is a little bit of our, part of the district administrator report. Again, I know Jackson, you're planning on attending. We always have to give somebody the authority to vote their discretion during the WASB delegate assembly.
I would move to give Jack Logan and also Pat Nichols, or is that already done? Four. And the power and discretion to vote is he deems appropriate on any and all motions brought forward after WASB school board convention in January 2022.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Thank you for attending.
Absolutely. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and then set the date and time for the board work session. I believe January 22nd is what.
Yeah, I'd like to do this as early in January as we can, just trying to time it out with some different things that are going on the calendar. The Saturday would be, the best Saturday would be January 22nd, or we could look at a weeknight.
I can't do January 22nd, that's my college board retreat day.
I will be out of town that day.
I could do that day, but since we're missing a couple of days, might as well get it in the day.
Could any of you do January 17th? It's a yeah, it's a Monday. Yeah, we could try to do like a, we could do 6 to 8, we can get it done.
We usually go 3 hours, right? But,
We go 6 to 9 if you want.
well, I mean, if you get done by 6 to 8, that'd be great, but
We could set 6 to 9 and go,
try to go.
yeah.
Monday the 17th.
Yep,
Is that the possible to have me zoom in on that?
yes,
Okay, then I can.
okay.
Sure, that's fine.
All right,
Monday the 17th.
Monday the 17th from 6 to 9.
So you would like a motion?
Yes.
I move to hold the next board work session on January 17th, starting
Would you want to do that in the boardroom or do it in here? It's a work session. It's not closed.
Oh, this one's not, okay.
Doesn't matter to me, boardroom's probably more comfortable.
Right. Should I amend the motion?
Well, it hasn't been seconded yet,
Oh,
so if no one seconded it, you
then I can just start again.
can withdraw it.
I'd like to withdraw that motion. I move to hold the next board work session on January 17th, starting at 6 PM in the board conference room.
Get a second for that.
Second.
Any further discussion since we already talked about it? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to discussion items, 23-24 school calendar.
I'd like to try to do the calendar 2 years out. I know that when people are starting to plan their vacations and stuff, I think that would be a nice service to them. We don't have to officially approve it. We could just say this is a tentative calendar, or in the January meeting, we could approve it. And I've given you two versions. Version 1 has school starting on September 5th. So we would start after the September 1st. Now, September 1st falls on a Friday. We would build more, we would do less, making sure I'm reading this correctly the way I wrote it. First day, on the version 1, the first day of classes is September 1st. Okay, that's correct. We would have less teacher work days within the calendar, and we would be done with school on the 31st of May, so it's a Friday, and then the teachers would come back June 3rd and 4th for PD days. Again, you're going to run into the same issue we talked about before, part of the 22-23 calendar with Christmas being on a Monday, so we would start the break on the 22nd. Now, certainly we could add days, but again, I get real cautious of bringing kids back for 1 or 2 days, in that first full week of June. If you look at version 2, we actually start school on the 5th of September. We've left Christmas break basically the same, spring break basically the same, but it pushes us back to September 5th for the last day, June 5th with the kids, and June 6th for the teachers. We build more PD days within the calendar because it just gives us more flexibility if we're going to go into that second week.
Have you, at this point from the staff, had any consensus of which they're leaning toward supporting more?
My perspective, consensus amongst the staff is a difficult thing to achieve. We get a lot of staff who want the spring break aligned to other districts. And we get people who want the Christmas break to be 2 weeks. So consensus is a challenging thing to reach. There are those who prefer to begin the school year on the 1st because that's just 1 day to get the kids acclimated and then start right into it on the 5th. There's others who would prefer to wait till the 5th.
My comment on version 1 is that we just went over the 22-23 calendar, and when I said, can we end on Friday and have the teachers come back Monday or Tuesday, and said, is it weird? And they're like, yeah, Charles said, he says weird, and yet we have a calendar here where we're doing exactly that, so.
Yeah. Certainly, again, we got 172 days built into this calendar. Again, there's a lot of flexibility, and you can rearrange the days. So certainly, again, if you wanted to, for example, start the Christmas break on the 21st, then we push the last day with kids to the 6th. Or again, we could take out one of those PD days within the calendar, add a day off in December, and then still in about the same place on the 6th.
Could I ask a question about August at the beginning?
Yes,
Version 1,
yes,
looks like,
there's 5 PD days.
yeah, and are the staff off the 25th through the 30th? So they go 4 days the week of the 21st, and then they're off for like,
Correct. And that's been a conversation with the principals, and certainly, again, much like we're doing on the 22-23, there'd be some flexibility in what actual days they work. We'd have one mandated day that everybody in the district needed to be here. That's when we do our all-district meeting. That's when we do our, basically our alumni employee luncheon and all those things. But there'll be more flexibility in when those other 4 days were worked.
It just seems like, you know, version 1 starts so much earlier in August versus version 2.
Yep. It's just how much it really, the bigger question really becomes how much later into June do you want to go?
Sure.
So looking at version 2, if we start on the 1st, so you gain a day there, and we push the end of the school year out to the 7th, which is just one day with, you know, Friday, so you'd be ending the same as you would in the one that we just approved for next year. You gain 2 days, which
We could put around that December if you wanted to do that.
have a longer break somewhere as well. You know,
Maybe you added the 2 days of Christmas, you're at 14 days.
so we get out the 20th, or we come back on the 4th, or, you know, whatever we want to do, but
Yeah, so we could go, change version 2 to start on the 1st. You could take off the 21st and the 3rd if you wanted to, or you could go 20th and 3rd.
and then push the end back just one day, so your last teacher day is on a Friday. And that way, you're not really extending farther into that second week of June, and yet, the people that want a longer Christmas break with that, it's the thought. Like you said, you're not gonna please everybody, but
No?
just look at it.
I don't know why you want 14 days in January, not Christmas break. That's just me. 12 days seems like a lot.
That's usually when people take a vacation,
I know.
and so they, you know, they don't wanna come back and go to school the day they get back. You know, they wanna have a little cushion on either side so they can get their house in order before the kids jump back in school.
Well, and all 3 calendars, the one we voted on and these 2, they all come back on January 3rd.
Right. But if you're able to leave on the 21st instead of the 23rd.
I think most families that do that, they do that anyway. They
Yeah.
don't care. They just go. I'm not like
I mean, for me as a superintendent, I'm going to be here anyway, so. But again, you're right, yeah, like I said before, Jack, trying to please everybody, it's just impossible. So,
I mean, maybe we only had one day of Christmas break, maybe we had none. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
13.
Right, 15?
start school on the 1st and then just add the 21st.
Yeah. Start school on the 3rd. Yeah, oh, sorry, on the 1st, yeah.
Start the break on the 21st, come back on the 3rd. That gives them 13 days.
Yeah,
Do that.
just a thought.
So we're looking at taking a vote on this next month in January.
Again, I would like to see us approve the calendar 2 years out, just so that people can begin making plans.
No, what I mean, not tonight, next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will revise this based on the feedback we have tonight and bring that back for, tentative approval in the January meeting.
I would look at version 2, is that what we're talking about, more than
Yes.
version 1? Yeah,
It's almost morphing the two of them together.
yeah. Okay. I've got no questions.
Anybody else have any questions on, or discussion on the calendar? Diane, everybody said much, any thoughts?
No, you can't please everybody, and
Yeah.
they all look forward to a day off whenever you give it to them.
This is true. All right, we'll move on to policy 830, the community use facilities.
Mr. Quinn and I have been working on this policy, so we've made some changes to it. Some of his thoughts, looking at other districts' facilities policies. The biggest changes would be around the scheduling process would move from paper to the electronic scheduling of the facility, and then the tiered system. Adding, kind of just make more clarity around the hourly and daily cost and in-district versus out-of-district. We've also implemented some charges for the parking lot, things like that. Ryan, anything you want to add?
No. We've gotten good feedback on our online portal, so that's good. It's not like there's that much of a transition.
George Williams College contribute anything to the school district anymore? For using the parking lot so much?
So this year and last year they did. So there for a while they were not doing anything, but we talked to them about that, and they started making a donation. But again, part of it's relying on people to make a donation. Some say they will and don't, some never do. So by having a fee built into that, I think it makes it much more fair behind that.
Any other questions about the policy 830? It looks pretty tight. I like the fact that it's going online, so it's a lot easier to control the paperwork and beforehand. All right, there's no other discussion, then we'll move on to the enrollment caps.
So the December meeting, we always talk about enrollment caps and where we think they're going to go. Basically, we're looking to keep those caps the same for next year, basically operating on those same average class sizes. So, for example, at 4K this year, the cap is 54 with a class size of 17. So if we have, again, 3 people, it's actually 18. So if we have, all 3 sections filled, it would be 18. And right now, we're limited to 2 sections. We'd have to add another classroom if we go above the 2 sections.
I found that article that you sent about the declining youth population in Wisconsin very interesting. How people are moving out, not having kids. But I feel like these caps probably aren't going to hit no matter what we set them at. So I mean, it's still important to review and do it, but I don't know that there's any major difference that we're going to make by setting the caps.
Right, we have to set caps, but we take everybody that comes. So at some grade levels, we are bumped up against what you have as a current cap. But at those lower levels, we're not. Now, Jennifer shared an article today, it was that out of the last 10 years, the population of Wisconsin has declined 9 or 8 out of the 10 years. So we're definitely seeing a decline in enrollment.
And we're seeing more less than births overall, so the entire population is natural loss, as they said.
But the caps could become a problem if the cap ends up giving you a third first grade, for example, and if the cap was maybe slightly different, you only need 2 first grades.
Yeah, that'll be the conversation at the January meeting. Do you want to keep it at 54, or do you look at trying to artificially maintain it at 2 sections? So that will be a conversation at the January meeting. And you have to set the cap at the January meeting because the open enrollment is February 1st. So we'll have to have those set. And we will talk about this at the work session in relationship to other budgetary enrollment type issues.
Any other discussions on the enrollment caps? Hearing none, we'll move on to the COVID update.
COVID keeps having new variants and the Omicron variant coming. The state, we met with the Department of Health and Services for Waller County today. They're running at a pretty high transmission rate. They also have pretty high bed counts in the hospitals. 90% of the people in the hospital are unvaccinated, so they're saying that basically the unvaccinated population is still contributing to that. We did receive a letter from the State Department of Health and Human Services encouraging us to encourage people to get vaccinated, encouraging us to require masks within our facilities. Superintendent put up today's we must wear masks indoors. Right now, my recommendation is we stay with the current protocols, that we not make any changes. There certainly is concerns. We ran into a hot spot about 3 weeks ago.
Quick question on that. So the state superintendent says that we have to wear them, but it's still at a local level to make that decision, correct?
Correct. She has no authority to legislate or mandate any changes to any school district's policies. So I was a little taken back by her letter. I thought that was poor timing. and not a real good choice on her part. Don't use it critically. Agree with what she put out today. Certainly the state legislature or the governor would have to come out with a mandate, or the federal government. So, again, we were hot probably about 3 weeks ago. We seem to have a lot of cases. That seems right now to have settled down a bit. But I do know a couple other districts having really high numbers right now. We talked today with the health department from Allworth County. 2 of the districts had high numbers. Everybody else seemed to be pretty low. But
Any questions on the COVID update?
Just nervous about what the wave could be in a week or two after the break.
Same, we didn't see a real large bump after the Thanksgiving break, but certainly I know that's why some of this stuff is coming out, concerns with the new variant being highly contagious, and people traveling and, getting together, which is much what it was last year. But again, last year we made the decision to go virtual the week after Thanksgiving and the week after Christmas. A lot of people, that's the first time they've gone out. People were pretty much still in lockdown. That's not the case this year. I feel like our constituents, our parents, our kids are going to, our staff are going to Bucks games and Badger games, they're going to parties, they're out there doing the things people do. So it's not like people are getting that initial exposure. So, but I still do think there's a strong potential of a bump after the holiday. But as they said today in the meeting, again, 90% of the people that have been hospitalized are unvaccinated. There are no kids. So indeed, it's contagious. Its severity is not compared to what the Delta was and what it was back when this first started.
Have you seen any rise in the number of students that are choosing to wear masks because of Omicron and just the increase in, or is it pretty much they wore masks before they wore it now, they didn't wear one before, they're not wearing it now? You see that?
We've actually had a decrease in elementary students wearing masks. As soon as they have their second dose, they're not masking. I've had at least 5 that I've noticed, or parents have said, have you noticed? And there could be more that I just haven't noticed, but at least 5.
Okay.